Alright guys, today's a bit of a special video because on the 30th of October last year, I officially started a new journey, a completely new journey, a journey into merger and acquisition, that is buying and building small businesses. But before I get into the video, let me tell you how I got started into this. Sometimes around early 2022, a patient of mine, his son, we got talking. And he found out my interest, my experience and interest in entrepreneurship, growing businesses. Then he asked me if I've ever thought about buying a business. At first, it was funny. Come on, I'm working a job where I barely earn above minimum wage. I don't have £1 million sitting in my account somewhere to buy a business. Then he said, it was like, no, you don't need £1 million to buy a business. So he went ahead to explain the entire process, but come on. It was funny. So he left, we lost contact, and I did not do anything about it. 6 months later, I stumbled upon another material about merger and acquisition. So that was what actually piqued my interest. So I started learning about the process. Then finally, 30th of October last year, partnered with my brother and we decided to go all in. And now, almost a year later, I want to share with you exactly what I've learned. Not the polished version you hear from gurus out there, not the clickbait, buy a business with no money stuff, the real lesson from being in the trenches, talking to sellers, talking to brokers, talking to investors, and trying to actually put a deal together. So if you're thinking about doing that or you're already on that path, this will save you a lot of pain because, come on, I've done it. I want to go through that pain so you don't have to go through it. Without wasting much of our time, let's dive into it. First off, let's do a quick recap of the journey so far. So when I started 30th of October last year, the goal was simple: to build a group of small businesses, grow them, and eventually exit. From my experience, most people are just looking for their next quick cash. I'm not looking to flip a business. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to actually build something into, a cash generating asset that will continuously feed my family for the next, decade. And eventually, there must be an exit at a point. So either through an IPO or through a group sale. Along the way, I've looked at over 100. In fact, 2 weeks ago, I was doing a review of our journey with my partner, and we realized over the last 1 year, we've looked at 96 businesses altogether. And shockingly, we got one into due diligence. Along the way, I've looked at hundreds of deals across multiple sectors: care homes, marketing agencies, logistics, manufacturing, construction. I've talked to brokers, talked to business owners, talked to insolvency practitioners. We've put some deals into due diligence at the moment. We've built financial models. We've looked at debt service cover ratio, stress tests, different deal structures. And yes, I've made a lot of mistakes. We've lost time. We've hit dead ends on a lot of deals. It hasn't been smooth, but it's been real. And I've learned a lot of lessons you can't not get from a course or a book. Lessons that you can only learn from actually being in the trenches, actually doing the work. So let's get into the meat of the video. Over the year, I've been able to distill the entire lesson into 11 points, okay? There are lots of things to learn, but for this video, I just want to share with you 11 lessons that I've learned over the years. These are my truths from my year one into the journey. So, the first lesson is all about deal flow. In merger and acquisition, deal flow is everything. You can't buy what you don't see. In the beginning, I underestimated this idea. I thought a few broker conversations would be enough. No way. You need constant deal flow. And depending on method, one channel for your deal flow is not enough. So you need to employ multiple channels, cold outreach, either via email or via letter, whatever you want to use. Speak to broker relationship, inbound, as many channels as you can have. Because one of the greatest things you can do for yourself in this journey is your ability to walk out of any deal. Okay? And the only thing that can make you walk out of any deal at any point is because you know you have hundreds of potential sitting somewhere, sitting out there. So you're not in love with a particular deal. So you need constant supply of deal. Most deals die, I promise you. 90% of the deal, in fact, 98% of deals you check will die. So you need volume. The funnel has to stay full at all times. Next lesson is about structure. Structure beats price. Now, this is a big one. Sellers often care less about the top price number. Now, I am not saying price is not important. It is, because you don't want to overvalue a business, and sellers don't want to sell for, less than what they think the business is worth as well. But at the end of the day, it's not about the price, it's about the structure. There is a negotiation strategy that I learned from Codie Sanchez, and in her book titled Main Street Millionaire, she made mention of something called your price, my term. So if you choose to value your own business for, let's say, £4 million, and I say, okay, I will accept your £4 million, but it will be on my term. And I will tell you, okay, I want to pay it £100,000 every year for the next 10 years or for the next 40 years. I know that's a stretch, but just to make you understand the idea of structure. Structure beats price. If you see a very good business, it's not about the price sometimes. Sometimes if you get a good structure, every other thing will fall in place. Okay? A clean structure that feels safe to both the seller and to every stakeholder in the deal. Clean structure always beats higher price. Sometimes even when you have higher price with messy terms, I've seen deals break down due to messy terms. I've seen seller pick lower offer because they trusted the buyer more. And remember, certainty is greater than numbers. Let's move to the next one, rapport with the seller. This is so underrated. You're not just buying assets. You're buying from a human being. Sometimes this is their life's work. If they don't like you or if they don't trust you, the deal will automatically die. So you want to constantly build rapport, by listening, respecting their story, and most importantly, being straightforward and truthful. Remember, you need to be truthful, because if you're not, we live in a digital age. These guys will find out your bullshit, So, and if they do, the deal dies. So you want to be truthful. You want to be straightforward with them. And these things are what often gets you across the finish line. The fourth lesson, what you see is not always the full story. Always ask questions. You see, when you're dealing with brokers are salespeople. They are employed to sell a business. So they will send you an IM. IM is another, it's called information memorandum. That's the sales brochure that the broker will send to you, provided you're dealing with a broker. That's what the broker will send to you the first time you make inquiry about a business. Now, information memorandum, like I said, it's a sales brochure. They're trying to sell you the business. So they will polish the business so good so that it attracts you. And at the same time, if you're talking to the seller as well, they polish their business. They want you to buy the business. So they will tell you all the good things about the business. But the truth is always under the surface. The truth is always under the surface. If something looks too good to be true, it probably is. So always ask questions. And don't ever feel bad about asking too many questions. It is better to look stupid now than get stuck with a business you don't like or lose money later. Every question you don't ask becomes a risk to you. So always ask, and ask. Lesson number 5. Don't stress about finance. This one surprised me as well, because like the story I told you earlier, the first thing that came to my mind when I heard about merger and acquisition was, I don't have £1 million sitting somewhere. But the truth is, you don't need to have £1 million in your account to buy a business. Okay? If the structure is right, like I said earlier, if the structure is right, everything will fall into place. The finance will find its way, lenders, investors. There are different strategies to use to finance it. And if the structure is right, everything will fall into place. Money follows good structure and good deals. So your job is to find a good deal, perfect the structure, and everything will follow. Okay? Like I said, remember, money follows good deals. Lesson number 6. This is not a get rich quick. I'll be blunt with you. If you're here because you think this will make you get rich extremely fast, forget it. This game is slow. It's about patience, process, and grinding day in, day out. The payoff can be very, very huge, but they don't come overnight. And honestly, that's why most people quit at one point. Again, this is not a get rich quick. You have to actually roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty. You need to get into the grind. You need to actually grind. And I'm saying you need to dedicate at least 3 hours a day reviewing deals. And that's what I do. 3 to 4 hours of my day is dedicated to reviewing deals, either during the day, at night, or anything. I review deals. Then there are days where you need to speak with sellers. There are days you need to speak with brokers. There are other days you need to speak with investors. Again, you need to get into the grind. It will take time because it is simple when they explain the process to you. It's a fairly simple process. However, on the inside, it is not so simple. There are some things that you cannot just learn from a book or a course. You need to actually get into the trenches before you can learn those things. Lesson number 7. This is not for everybody. Let's be real here. Not everyone is built for this. The uncertainty, the negotiation, the constant back and forth, the dead ends, it wears on you, I promise. Some people are better off investing in a fund, and that's okay. Okay, that's okay. Why some are better off starting their own thing from scratch? Although at this point of my life, I'm against that, but if that's your thing, please do it. But if you're wired for it, it can be very, very addictive because at this point, I believe myself to be a deal junkie because I'm always everywhere I go. Even if I'm seeing a corner shop somewhere, my brain is going, maybe the owner might want to sell this business. I love this game and it can be very, very addictive provided you're built for it. Lesson number 8. The full story is always in the number. Forget the pitch. Forget the glossy brochure that you got from the broker. Numbers don't lie. Always follow the trail. Check the profit and loss statement. Check the balance sheet. Check the cash flow statement. That's where the truth lives. It's shocking how many buyers don't dig deep. If you learn to read the numbers properly, you always see what others miss. So always check the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Numbers will tell you the full story of the business. Lesson number 9. The game punishes impatience. Now, the right deal is worth waiting for. Rushing makes you either overpay for a business or ignore red flags or partner with the wrong people. A year in, I've learned that walking away from a deal is often the smartest move. And like I told you earlier, I've walked away from over 80 businesses. I've looked at hundreds of businesses. Some of them, the negotiation didn't get anywhere. We didn't agree on anything, anytime. I've learned that walking away is often the smartest move. Lesson number 10. Be truthful. Don't bullshit the sellers. Sellers can smell bullshit a mile away. If you try to act bigger than you actually are or hide things, they will eventually know. The truth is out there, the deal is dead. So be upfront about who you are, where you're at, and what you want. Honesty builds bridges and lies burns them. The last but not the least. This one is quite personal because you're not just buying numbers. You're buying someone else's legacy. You're buying someone else's livelihood, what they've been working on for the past 20, 30, 40 years of their life. So don't just come and treat it as just another deal. You need to respect what they've built. You need to respect them as a person. Respect the staff, respect the family, respect their livelihood. Because at the end of the day, sellers will notice it. Staffs will notice it. And it makes all the difference. If you can treat it with respect, they will respect you and they will prefer to sell to you rather than selling to a corporate behemoth that will probably not respect what they've built. So, after almost a year, here's what I can say to you. The journey is tough, but it's worth it. You learn more about businesses, people, negotiations, and yourself in 1 year of M&A than you will ever do in 10 years of theory. So, I'm not at the finish line yet. I don't have the glossy success story yet, but that's the point. You're watching the story in progress. And as we go along, I'll keep documenting it. And if you're on your own M&A part, merger and acquisition part, I'd love to hear your lessons as well. If you want, you can drop a comment in the comment box below. And if you're looking to sell your business, or you're a broker selling for other people, or you're an investor looking to back a deal, my inbox is always open. My email is tagged below. Send me a confidential email. Let's take it from there. And I'm documenting everything along the way. So hit the subscribe button, share this with someone who's thinking about doing the same thing, and I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.